for being here, and welcome to this information session and kickoff session for our volunteer captioning project. This is a new thing for us, and we're excited to dive into it with you and with other members of the community. Captioning is really important for increasing our accessibility and the accessibility of our materials for the community at large, and that we're really excited to engage with our community members on increasing the reach and increasing the accessibility of these videos. In short, what the project is we have a lot of video recordings of the recent conference, of the fall conference, Roots Intertwined, that was earlier this month at ZSpace. And as we're uploading them to YouTube, YouTube is automatically generating captions for those videos. And that service is it's somewhere between 60 and 80% accurate in terms of what is actually being said. And so what we'd like to do is to go through those and edit those captions so that they more accurately display what is being said in the videos. Because for right now, folks with the captions on aren't necessarily seeing what is being said. So that's the project in a nutshell. What we're looking for is for folks to help with kind of 30-minute chunks of video captions. So we've divided up the videos that exist into little chunks. We expect editing those captions to take somewhere between 1 and 3 hours for a 30-minute segment. It depends depends on how comfortable you are with the captioning, how fast you are, and how accurate the sort of like baseline captions are. So that's an overview. Any questions before I pass it over to Art to dive a little bit more in depth into things?
I guess, is there a system for checking the checking?
Just
because you said how accurate the checker is, so how do you know?
Yeah, totally. So once someone says that they've completed their captions, we'll have TBA staff go through and just sort of do an eyeball check and see where things are at, and we'll see if we need to do another pass. What's great about having this sort of like community involvement is the editing can continue for as long as we want it to, so we can just kind of continually revisit these things.
Perfect, thank you.
Great. All right, then I'm going to pass it over to Art, and they will go a little more in depth about what the process will look like.
Great. First thing that you'll do is sign up for a video segment on our beautiful sign up sheet. And then you'll include your name, your email, and that email has to be a Google address specifically, because that's how it works with YouTube. And then we'll send an invitation to you as a subtitle editor. You go to the email that you receive being like, yes, you've been invited, click accept, and then you're ready to like head in and edit subtitles for us. Excuse me. So you go to youtube.com, you make sure you're signed into that email that's associated with the subtitle project. You are going to switch your account in that top right menu as is typical, and then you'll go to your video, go to edit the actual like subtitle document thing, go into the editor, and then we will provide a link to it. We have a best practices that we picked from Berkeley that is really great for explaining what makes high quality captions. And then if there are things that you're unsure about, you can add that to the notes, including like a little timestamp so that we can go through and figure it out. And yeah, the editor that comes with YouTube is pretty great. It's got a bunch of like keyboard shortcuts. You can speed up the video, slow down the video, and just like kind of play around and get comfortable with how captioning works for you. And then once you're done, you will save it as a draft and exit, and then like note on that sign up that you've completed it, and potentially sign up for more segments as you'd like.
That all made sense.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. What's next, Meg?
All right, next, I'm going to put a link to our volunteer captioning project Google Sheet here in the chat. And I'm going to share my screen and just kind of walk through how the logistics of the volunteer part of the process is going to work. The sign up part is going to work. So share my screen. All right. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Fabulous. All right. This is the volunteer Google Sheet. We've got two tabs. One has the instructions for the project. So some very in-depth instructions along with screenshots to help kind of guide the work that you're doing.
Great.
This also has the link to the captioning best practices that Art mentioned earlier.
Okay.
And then the second tab is the sign up tab. So this is where you go when you've said, I've learned enough, I want to get involved. So we have a row for each video segment. So we've got, the first 30 minutes of the first 5 videos that are up on YouTube right now. And so if there's one, that you're particularly interested in, or you say, I'm drawn to this fundraising events video, you can say, okay, we've got the link to it. You put your name here in the volunteer name and your email here in the volunteer email.
Okay.
And just another reminder that it needs to be a Google account in order to get the YouTube invitation.
I have one of those.
Fabulous. So then once you sign up here, we'll add you as a subtitle editor, and that invitation, I've got mine here just so that you can see. And well, it was loaded and then apologies. The invitation will look like this. So the subject line says invitation to access the channel Peter Bay Area on YouTube. So you'll have this invitation, and it kind of goes through what actions will be attributed to your personal account, what will be attributed to TBA. And from here, you just need to click accept invitation, and that's how you'll be added as a subtitle editor on the TBA account.
Great.
So pretty easy. Oh my gosh. Amber,
I put myself in there. Just in case you wanted to do a live action.
Yeah, that is amazing. So then as you're going along, if there's anything that you notice, say there's a segment of the video where you really couldn't hear what was going on, or you want the person who will be coming in to edit the captioning after you're done to know, you can put that in the notes, and then once you finish, just put the date completed there.
Right. So you would put like 1537, please double check speaker.
Right.
Unclear or something like that.
And I think one of the trickiest parts for me when I've done this is with like names of organizations, names of people. It's like, okay, I think that's the name they said, but like I don't know what the spelling is or whatnot. So that I think is one of the other main use cases for needing a double check.
Yeah. Right. So for example, it might be good to pause the video and double check, just Google somebody's name and see if you can figure out what the correct spelling is, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and like if we have like also have like the context of these sessions, I think more than other people might. So sometimes you really do need to like tap someone else in. But in my experience, like Google is super useful too in figuring that out.
Yes. Yeah. Is there like a playbill or a program I could look at?
Yes. Yeah, we should link the program in here.
Yeah.
We'll add that.
Great. Okay. Yeah, so that is the overview. We'll make new rows for the kind of second half segments of videos once the first half is complete, because only one person can be working on a video at a time. So we'll just kind of wait
Gotcha.
and open those up. Our goal is to have the second half of videos opened up from this kind of like first wave in mid-November. So we'll check.
Okay.
For anyone that signs up now, we'll check in about 2 weeks and just see where you're at, see if you need any support with the captioning. Because just because you sign up for one video doesn't mean that you have to slog it through if it's becoming like a really difficult task, or whatever you have. So you can always feel free to tag in the TBA staff if you're running into any difficulties as it's going on.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. We've got a little bit more time, and we thought it might be nice to kind of like click through the process on this captioning, on what the captioning looks like. So Art, if you want to share and kind of click through some of those things.
Yeah, give me a hot second.
Great. Thank you. And thanks for being so engaged in this conversation, Amber. You've already improved this process.
Yay! Well, accessibility is important.
Yeah. And it takes a village.
I have a judgment-free zone of what my personal YouTube recommendations are. But from your Google account, Switch account, in this top right menu, go to Theater Bay Area. You are a subtitle editor.
Okay.
And then you'll have this list of all of our videos. And if you're doing the Who's Playing You one, you'll go here. And there will be like two like subtitle types for each. One is the automatic captions, which is kind of the starting place for this. But then we've already made the draft of the corrected ones. So you'll go to the English.
Okay.
Yeah, and so then this is
super helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what the editor looks like. All of the text is in this enormous chunk, and you have your I guess timing down here, so you can change when the captions show up, and then edit the text here. So you'll notice that like right Solano County, this is like Sassoon City, I think, pro tem, but it definitely struggles a bit more with things like names and stuff like that. But
yeah, sorry, pro tem's actually 2 words and there's a P at the end of tem.
Oh, amazing. You love to see it. Okay. But yeah, so that is the gist of editing. I found that, a little bit speedier is my style, but it can also be helpful to slow stuff down. And whether or not you want it to pause while typing, and you can check out the keyboard shortcuts there.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
And is it helpful to break the text up and to try to give it more like formatting?
That's a
Or
great question.
does it matter because they play in the video, so no one's looking at this document?
Right, because this isn't like a transcript. I'm trying to, let me see if we I don't know how it breaks up the like text and amounts here. Yeah, so if you add like spacing, it'll change where the break is. So that can be useful.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think, right, like capitalization is important. and things like that, as you'll see in the best practices. But yeah, otherwise it's like that's the guideline for what the formatting should be, rather than what is usually good to read in an essay format or things like that.
Right. And is there, sorry, it's probably in the best practices, but
Yeah.
is it good to leave verbal pauses like in the text?
It depends. Let me double check. Sorry, let me stop sharing. I want to say yes, in some cases. Like it because the way that you caption like a movie is going to be different than the way that you caption like a live speaking thing, right?
Yeah.
The best practices said, it says for should I include every in the captions? It says usually not. Here, I'll read this verbatim so that I don't miss. But it says natural speech tends to be messier than scripted speech and may be difficult to follow if all filler words and false starts are transcribed. A caption style called clean read removes most of the filler words to improve comprehension. When captions include every and this is called full verbatim. This approach is only used for scripted speech, plays and TV, and court reporting. So I think we'll want to lean more towards clean read.
Yeah. It's like I remember there's a difference, but I couldn't. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think it's something to note is that the auto captions will pick up all of the likes, us, so we can delete those when they occur. And we'll add that to the instructions just so that it's a little clearer as we're going through.
That's great.
All right. So I think that was all the content that we wanted to cover. Are there any questions that you had? Your thoughts and suggestions have been so thought-provoking for us as we've gone through things here. So is there anything that you didn't get to ask as we were kind of like mid talk?
No, it looks good. And if you send me that invitation, I'll get started on that first one tomorrow and check in and let you know how it goes.
That sounds great. That sounds really great. Thank you. I will, as soon as we end this call, I will get you added to the account. I don't think my computer will let me do both things at once. Expect,
I understand.
yeah, yeah, I would say expect that shortly after we get off this call.
Okay, thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Have a great afternoon.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Right, and I will stop the recording.